Good morning, good people. Welcome to another edition of Double the Innocence with your boy E Double. Bringing it to you live and direct, dropping gems and taking absolutely no prisoners. We're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about LeBron James. Now, like I've told you guys before, I'm not an individual that likes to get into LeBron James bashing, for the simple fact of the matter that when LeBron James came into the league, I was one of those individuals that was really all about LeBron James. I bought into all the hype. That's when I didn't really understand that much about the media and how they mislead you and how they guide you in the direction that they want you to guide you in. He was an individual that came out of high school. LeBron James was a player that came directly out of high school. So the only way that anybody could know about this particular individual out of high school is if he has the proper backing behind him, no? I mean, Kevin Garnett came directly out of high school. I don't remember hearing a lot of hype about him coming out of high school until he got to the NBA. LeBron James was one of the first individuals that they were covering him directly out of high school. They were showing some of his high school games, some of his high school highlights. I don't remember any other player in my era going through that. Bottom line is, as far as I'm concerned, I believe that LeBron James is because of the fact of the matter that he's lost a step, he's up there in age, he's not as beneficial to a team as he once used to be. I guess that's a proper way of saying it. Obviously, anybody who knows anything about basketball, you just check him out on the defensive side of the ball. What does he do on the defensive side of the ball for you guys? For the Lakers? What does he do for you guys? It's a handicap. Why? Because you're playing 5-on-4. They basically have to play zone in order to cover up his deficiencies. Now, I don't want to take anything away from him because of the fact of the matter that his age, to be doing what he's doing at his age, it does deserve some credit. It just doesn't deserve the credit that he feels it deserves. That doesn't make him the greatest player. That makes him one of the better players that play in the league. That's my personal opinion. Now, let me be very clear. The reason why I have personal issues about LeBron James is because of the simple fact of the matter that it seems like everything he does, he takes shortcuts in the league. And now he's trying to create those shortcuts for his son. As far as I know it, and this has been since like I said, since the era of Michael Jordan coming out of college, it was always the best players out of college that got drafted to the NBA. That's the way it's always been, period. Didn't matter who you were connected to, didn't matter who you knew, didn't matter about none of that stuff. It was always the best players that came out of college. Now, I've been hearing for years that LeBron James wants to play in the NBA with his son, which is okay. Everybody could have inspirations and dreams about wanting to do something. There's nothing wrong with that. But every time LeBron James made that statement, he made it seem like it was written in stone. That this, as long as he continued playing, he would have that opportunity to play with his son. And that always never sat right with me for a lot of different reasons. Because the simple fact of the matter that, number one, how do you know your son is going to be good enough to get drafted into the NBA? That's number one. And number two, the way he made it seem is that he wanted to play on the same team with his son. How do you know what team is going to draft? Where he's going to fall in the draft? For all you know, he could be drafted by the Charlotte Bobcats. Now, the only way for something like that to actually happen is if there's somebody in place setting everything up, no? That's the only way. If you guys recall, way back in the day when Stevie Francis was drafted by the Vancouver Grizzlies, he was not happy about that because that's not where he wanted to go. But he didn't have a choice in that matter. He got drafted by that team. Yeah, okay, fine. He kicked up a lot of stink, and they ended up working it out where they had to do trades in order to get him to Houston. Yes. But even though he had made it clear to them that if they drafted him, he had no interest in playing for them, they didn't leave that choice to him. Which, honestly speaking, that's the NBA that I respected. Where no matter how good a player was, you don't dictate the pace of how the NBA is being run. For some strange reason, in my eyes, I personally think that they canceled that when it came to LeBron James. They basically gave him the key to run rapid in the city and do as he pleases. But if you ask me, I think that because of that, that is now ruining the league. Because he's allowed to change teams every single year to suit his needs, I believe it's ruining the league. And because the league does so much to make sure they keep him, basically relevant in the league, it's taken away from the future stars of the league, which is, I think that there's enough future stars in the league that you can start focusing on different entities. You can start driving those small market teams, driving up their values, like the OKCs, like the Sacramento Kings. And this is all just in my personal opinion. Has LeBron James done a lot for the league? Absolutely. Indeed. When LeBron James was in Cleveland, his first stint, believe it or not, I was one of his biggest fans. It was my nephew that turned me on to LeBron James. My nephew Q was the first man to bring LeBron James into my life, telling me about this kid out of high school, how he's going to be phenomenal, the whole 9 yards. And then I started to follow him. And when he got to Cleveland, like I said, I was one of his biggest supporters. But looking back on it, if you recall, I think his first coach was Paul Silas, which back then had a pretty decent reputation in the NBA. He was gone. They got rid of him. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the Sacramento Kings coach right now was one of LeBron's coaches out there in Cleveland. His name slips me right now, but the head coach of the Sacramento Kings at this present time was his coach. They got rid of him. And at that point in time, made it seem like he didn't know what he was doing. Obviously, the way he has the Sacramento Kings running for the last couple of years, individually had a little bit of an idea of what he was doing, no? And then there was rumors when he went to Miami. We're talking about LeBron James here. Apparently, he tried to get rid of, or he had requested that they get rid of the head coach that's in Miami right now. The only good thing about it is that he, at that point in time, he was dealing with a GM that came from the old school. So therefore, he had the old school mentality where, at the end of the day, players do what they're supposed to do on the court, and the management does what they're supposed to do in the offices. So because he wasn't able to flex his strength there in Miami, what do? He ended up back in Cleveland. Again, I was still a LeBron James fan at this particular point in time. When he went to Cleveland and won that championship for Cleveland, I was one of his biggest supporters because at that point in time, I had my own personal issues with Golden State and the way they were going about doing things that I lost a little bit of respect for. I was a LeBron James supporter. I was one of the happiest cats when he won that championship. Honestly speaking, I started to lose a little bit of respect for LeBron James when he ended up with the Lakers. And you start to see how things start to kind of change up where you had a young team. And as far as I'm concerned, you're an individual that's done all that you could do in the league. That was your opportunity to build those young kids up because you had Ingram. You had that point guard there. Can't remember whether right now that's playing for Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken. Ball. That's right. Lonzo Ball. You had some young, good nucleus. You had hearts. You had a good nucleus of young talent out there. Where I personally feel you could have used your experience, your knowledge, and build those kids up. Where if that had been done, the Lakers would have been right where they needed to be right at this particular point in time. But you weren't part of building anything. You wanted a quick fix and you wanted that fix now. So what they have to do, they had to get rid of everybody. And that's when I started to notice, wait a second. Every single team that this gentleman plays on, at some point in time, they got to start getting rid of everybody on the squad in order to help him. Whatever happened to the greatest player helping others? Michael Jordan did it. Isaiah Thomas did it. Magic Johnson did it. Who could you honestly say that LeBron James has taken under his wing and brought him to the next level? I'm sorry, I can't think of anybody offhand. But if any of you guys know, can think of anybody, you let me know. That's when I start to lose a lot of respect for LeBron James. That's when I start to realize that it's more media driven than anything else. And I'd always heard that statement, media could make you and media could break you. But for some strange reason, it became very, very clear to me when I started to really pay attention to the way in which they're marketing this particular individual. Where anybody who knows the game could see the amount of deficiencies that he has, but yet still, if you listen to announcers and broadcasts, they make it seem like he's the best thing since sliced bread. I heard another content creator say, what exactly is LeBron James's go-to move? And for the first time in my life, I had to sit there and think about this. Honest to goodness, what is his go-to move? Michael Jordan was known for walking on air. Kobe Bryant was known for hanging in the air with that fadeaway, lean back fadeaway. What exactly is LeBron James' go-to move? His go-to move that I've seen in the past couple of years is bully ball. Meaning that you switch off of the screens until you get a point guard on you, like a Steph Curry or a Kyrie Irving, you know. And then you just bully them. Back them down at 260-something pounds and 6'8". How is one of those guards actually supposed to stop you? Now, in the offensive scheme of things, that's smart basketball. In the offensive scheme of things, that is very smart basketball. Expose the weaknesses. But as an individual, that's not a go-to move. As an individual, that's not the kind of move that you want to be known for. Now, I could be wrong. But my personal opinion is, when we're talking about a go-to move, we're talking about a move that kids outside on the playground are actually practicing to get better at because they saw their favorite player do it. As an individual that has the opportunity to coach younger kids, that's a play that I would draw up in the scheme of the offense. But that's not a go-to move. When you think back at the fact when LeBron James went back to Cleveland that second time, if you remember correctly, he brought Dwayne Wade with him. If I'm not mistaken, I think Isaiah Thomas, that's the second Isaiah Thomas, not the one that played for the Detroit Pistons, was part of that team. And I want you guys to really sit down and think. The first half of that season was more or less like the season that the Lakers are going through now. They weren't winning a lot of games. They weren't making a lot of noise. As a matter of fact, it was starting to get embarrassing. And they had to get rid of everybody out there and revamp a team that could help LeBron James do what he needs to do. And like I said, the main reason why you see I have issues like this, why I'm speaking about it as much as I'm speaking about it, is because the simple fact of the matter that people want to talk about this individual as being one of the greatest that has ever done it. People want to make the mistake and compare this guy to a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant. And that, to me, unfortunately, I find is insulting. Because the Michael Jordans of the world, they had to do it with the players that you surrounded them with. And that was it. If the organization was thinking about bringing in a player, yes, they would have to talk to the star players of the team to make sure that they would be okay with it. But at the end of the day, the organizations were the ones that made their decision. This was a team that we're giving you. You've got to be the one to make the best out of this situation. The way it seems to be for LeBron James is they just let him loose in a flower shop and he gets to walk around and pick whatever flowers he wants in order to help him. Now, the superstars that I grew up watching didn't have to get role players to help him, to help them. They brought the best out of whatever players they had around them. And until LeBron James is able to do something like that, we can no longer have him in the conversation of being the GOAT in the NBA. As I said before, people, this is just based on my own personal opinions. I'm nothing more than just a fan of the sport. I've loved basketball from as far back as I can remember. And I understand now that, like it's more of an entertainment value, which makes sense because, I mean, you did have to take away some of the stuff that was going back in the early stages. You had to take that away because people would get injured real bad and stuff like that. Which the good thing about it is, like, knock on wood, it looks like the injuries have come down a little bit. So that's a positive. But we've got to put something back into the game where people are actually playing the game with the passion that the game really deserves. Right now, as far as I'm concerned, I see a little bit too much individual basketball. And again, I think that's just basically to drive up the entertainment value. But when you see a basketball game where a team gets a rebound, pushes the ball down court, takes a quick three, misses that three, the other team gets a rebound, pushes the ball down court, takes a quick jump shot, misses that jump shot, the other team gets a rebound. At some point in time, it starts to look a little bit like playground basketball. At some point in time, somebody has to make the decision to slow the ball down, call an offensive play where you work the ball around, where you actually let the 5-man touch the ball, the 5-man being the center. And get a good shot. It's not something that you really see too much of nowadays. Back when I was growing up, the shots you wanted were closer to the rim. Nowadays, the shots people want are from the three-point line and even further. Plays are designed for those type of shots. But is it entertaining? Absolutely. There's a lot more scoring in the games, which I guess is a good thing. The only problem I have is that defense is part of basketball, and you got taken away from the defensive part of the ball. I was one of those individuals. I was very happy when they finally started making that if you have a fast break and a team intentionally fouls you, now it results in a technical shot. I thought that was probably one of the best decisions that the NBA made. For the simple fact of the matter that all the way through high school basketball, you're running all type of drills. You're running 3-on-2, 2-on-1 drills, 3-man weaves, all that type of stuff, teaching people how to hustle back on defense. How to hustle back on defense. So you're teaching everybody how to hustle back on defense. What? To take a shortcut and just stop somebody that has a fast break? No. 5 guys got to get on the horse and they got to run back on defense. That's the way it's supposed to be. That being said, I'm not 100% happy with all the changes that the NBA's made, because I do share the opinion with a lot of the old school people that say that the game has gotten very, very soft. But I also don't watch the game for the same reasons that I used to watch it when I was a kid. Now I actually do watch it for the entertainment purposes. I have my teams that I enjoy watching. I have my favorite team, which is the Toronto Raptors. I'm never going to shy away from that. That's my squad. And even though we may never win another championship again, the bottom line is we won one. Can't take that away from us. Now that they're slowly dispersing my team, I'm just watching and hoping for the success that all these players have on the teams that they're on now. Pascal Siakam, I wish him nothing but the best. OG, I wish you nothing but the best. Van Vliet, nothing but the best. Kyle Lowry, you just got traded for the second time. Now you're no longer in Houston. I haven't had the opportunity to see where you are right now, but I wish you nothing but the best. I'm a Raptors guy. When it comes to teams, that's my squad. And I'll be the first to tell you that they're talking about trade rumors and stuff like that. Believe it or not, I would not be an happy individual if I was to hear that Toronto Raptors were trading for LeBron James. I wouldn't be happy about that. Where a lot of teams would feel that they just won the 649. I personally would feel that you've just destroyed our squad. Because obviously, in order to acquire LeBron James, you're not going to get him cheap. So you're going to be giving away some key assets for a dinosaur that doesn't play any defense. I wouldn't be happy about that. As a matter of fact, that would be one of the things that would make me contemplate disowning my team. Finding a new favorite team. So, if by any chance the Toronto Raptors are listening, please don't do anything like that. And I'm almost positive I'm talking on behalf of a lot of the Toronto Raptor fans that would not like to see this happen. The only place you would benefit is in the marketing part, selling jerseys. You still do have a lot of LeBron James fans, so I'm sure you'll be able to put butts in the seats to see him play, but it ain't going to be nobody that's going to bring you over to the next level. LeBron James was able to put certain teams on back and win championships with them. Yes. With the help of the league, with the help of the referees, but yes, he was capable of doing stuff like that. Those days are done. Those days are absolutely done. LeBron James will be the name. He'll be the star on your team. But he definitely needs a Scottie Pippen on that squad. A Scottie Pippen. He needs a Scottie Pippen to play like a Michael Jordan.